What is going on, everyone? Hope you're having a great Sunday. I just wanted to make a video. Here is my face. I've been doing a lot of stock analysis videos lately, and I haven't really, been in on the videos in maybe like a month or two. It's been quite a while, but today is an important one. And what I want to go over is why you should always invest your money in something versus holding it in cash. And holding things in cash or putting an investment into, again, just my opinion here, everything in this video is my opinion, putting something in like a CD or a high savings rate savings account that isn't really going to get you anywhere. It's not going to help you get ahead. It's not going to help you move further in life, just in general. And I'll go over it in a second. But you should always have your money that you make that's left over after your expenses invested into something. So that way you can see more money. You can have your money make money. That's what everyone talks about. That's like the hottest talk, is to tell people how your money makes money and that money makes money. So it's really important. It really is, because when you think about it, when you hear someone talk about it, the way that I'm going to tell you like a little story, you start to realize, wow, like maybe I've been doing this the wrong way, like the whole time. Like I didn't know that, or I didn't think about that. That wasn't, something that crossed my mind. So one thing that I want to do is go over, like, what is this? This is a dollar bill. This is a United States dollar bill. And over time, this gets worth less and less and less. That's called inflation. Inflation, I'm not going to do this, but rips this dollar apart. It destroys it. Like, inflation eats money. The only way to counter or keep inflation away is to invest in ways to keep inflation from eating your dollar. Because a dollar that just sits is a lazy dollar, and it's just going to keep losing money over time, value over time. And what I mean by that, again, this is my whole video, like the whole thesis of this video. Imagine $1, and the year is 1970. A dollar could buy a lot back in 1970. You hear all the time, like your parents or your grandparents, say, oh, when I was a kid, a loaf of bread was 25 cents. Gas was 50 cents a gallon. And that is due to inflation. Inflation is rising prices. That's when prices go up on just everyday goods and services. And that happens over time. Over time, a dollar back in 1970, like I just said, you could go get a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, and fill up your car with maybe some money left over or close to a total of like $1 spent. Like, that's how inflation works. Where today in 2021, you can't spend $1 to get a loaf of bread and fill up your car and get a gallon of milk. That doesn't work. That's because inflation has eaten it. Now let's bring this into an investment perspective. If you left $1, I saw this as a visual a few months ago, and I thought, wow, like what an incredible visual that like really makes you think about it. If you put $1 in a safe, just in a safe back in 1970, it's the same U.S. American dollar. You just put that in a safe in 1970, again, with all the stuff that you could buy, knowing that you could buy milk, bread, gas, put it in a safe in 1970, and then open up that safe in 2021, like, 51 years later, like, it's the same dollar. This didn't get any more valuable. You can't buy more. You can buy less with your dollar now because you had just saved it. That's what cash, like holding on to just cash, that's what it does over time. It gets you nowhere. So to say, again, that's just an opinion. Of course, you could keep stacking up cash and go buy things that you need every day. But I'm just saying, you don't gain anything. You gain basically like no advantage over investing in something. Let's say that same dollar that you put in a safe in 1970, let's say you had invested that dollar into the S&P 500, or pick your favorite company that would have been around back then. In this case, like maybe not your favorite company, but like an Exxon Mobil, a Procter and Gamble, Clorox, you know, Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, like these like companies, these like companies that have been around for 50 plus years. Imagine you had taken that dollar and instead of, putting it in a safe and then opening it up 50, 51 years later, you had invested in, like I said, one of those companies. Then today you could have potentially, with that $1 that you had invested back then, you could potentially have, with dividends reinvested and compounding interest and compounding dividends being, every time you get paid a dividend, goes back into the company. Like your purchase of a company's share. Every time you get paid a dividend, back into the share. Dividend, back into the share. You keep doing that on autopilot for 50 years, you could have thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars just from those sound companies that you had put your dollar into back then. Over time, when you open up that safe and you see your stock portfolio, all of a sudden after 50, 51 years, it grew. That is how you hedge inflation. You kept putting dollars in. You kept putting your money in. And that is something that, again, I saw this visual of someone putting a safe, putting like money into a safe. It was like stacks of money into like a safe and saying like, imagine if you had invested, 40 years ago or left this money in a safe like from 40 years ago. If you open it up today, still the same money. It actually gets you less though. So anyway, if you had invested money, then you should see a return more often than not on your money, especially over 40 or 50 years if you have that kind of time horizon. So it's really interesting that, again, this isn't advice. This isn't like, I'm not telling you what to do, but this is my personal opinion. And it seems like from history and what everyone does over time, holding on to cash gets you nowhere versus investing in a house, even in gold, in like cars, like good cars, like old school cars that, go up in value. That gets you a lot further than just holding on to your money. And there are plenty of platforms out there that help you invest if you're younger, help you understand what you're doing, and like, what are all these terms? What does this mean? Where's the best place to put my money? These are just things that, you can find out on your own to keep inflation, which is the rising costs of things. When things gradually, increase in cost over time, again, like I just told you about, your parents and grandparents will tell you how loaf of bread, milk, gas, it was all so cheap back in my day. Okay, but that's inflation. Everything goes up. Get over it. It all goes up. How to get away from inflation? Invest, invest, invest. So with that was all the video that I wanted to make today. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Thanks.